we were on the basketball court, and she ended up saying the N-word to me. I thought, if you would look at me, I thought I was like black. There's not that much representation. I mean, even in my family, I'm the darkest out of all of them. They wouldn't call me browning, you know, they call me whitey. And I'm like, what? I literally could not move. I just see this big old footballer come towards my face and said, Jesus Christ, no, I'm not dead. This girl peed herself. Hey my lovelies, welcome back to my channel. It's your girl Mel and we are here with mommy. So no say it's another story time with mommy. Story time with mommy. Story time with mommy. But today I'm going to be talking more than mommy. Probably, maybe, we shall see.
Disclaimer: the stories that I'm going to tell in this series are my experience, my truth, and my point of view over the past 38 years that I have been in Jamaica. And it's in no way intended to slander any person, the culture of Jamaica, or the island as a whole.
There was always this question of what my experience was in Germany, if I went through any form of, what do you call it? Racism, if I felt any form of racist act towards me. And you know, just the overall experience of basically, you know, my whole life being spent in Jamaica up until that point, up until I was 8 years old. And then being, you know, dragged out of that life and put into a whole different world. Even though I spent like few months there a previous year, you know, that was just like, okay, it's a vacation, it's not my actual life. But at this point I was, you know, thrown into it. So I would just basically start off by saying, you know, through school and stuff, primary school and high school together, I was always the only, you know, darker skinned student in my class. Like, I never had anyone similar to me or darker than me in my class. They were always lighter. So there were other classes that had like a few students. Like in my primary school, I mentioned her before, that was my neighbor. She was the only other dark-skinned girl that I knew on the whole school complex, and we became friends and stuff. And our friendship, you know, extended so far into us, you know, playing after school, going to the playground, which was right around the corner from our apartments. And, you know, in summer holidays or when it became warmer, going to the swimming pool. We had a swimming pool in our city. But every time we would walk to that swimming pool, we would have to walk through this park. And at this park, there was always this big ass tree. And no matter what time of day, I don't know how, but there was always this one specific man sitting directly under the tree, drinking from morning till at night. For all I know, he lived there. Like, that was his home, because no matter when I passed there, he was always there. And you know, I mean, at that point, since it wasn't far from our home or anything, a lot of the times we would sometimes go there alone at first, and then, you know, either my friend's mom would follow close behind or something. But there were certain instances where we would, you know, walk past this man by ourselves, and he always saw us, and he was like one of those, what do you call them, neo-Nazis?
Yeah,
the bald head ones and stuff, yeah, like that, like the picture of what you have of a neo-Nazi. And whenever he saw us, he would, you know, scream after us, oh, black people this and blah blah blah, and we're not good and we should go away. And I'm telling you, like, at that point we're probably like 9, 10 or something, or a little bit older. So we were quite young and very impressionable as well. So we're always like, I had the biggest fear of my life because of this man. Like, anytime I would even, there's a longer way you could walk, sometimes we would decide to just take the longer walk, like walk all the way around.
Just to avoid him.
Just to avoid him in case we saw him or anything. But he wouldn't approach us or anything. He would sit like a lazy ass, I don't know, under the tree. Like, he's not moving or anything.
Just work his mouth.
He's just shouting, and he didn't care if anyone else was hearing it or anything. He was just shouting. I don't ever remember if he actually said the N-word or anything, to be honest. But that was like just one of my earliest experiences with that form of situation. And I must say, in all the years I've spent there, well, at that point we spent 5 years in Germany, and then, you know, in my later life I spent like another 5 years again. But I've only had like two experiences with any form of racial slurs thrown towards me personally, and that was one of them. And I was quite young at that point. But there was also this case where I was in high school. I was probably in around 7th grade or 6th grade. I think 6th grade. Because there in Germany, high school starts with 5th grade. So I think it was 6th grade. And there was this Polish girl in my class. All of us were friends and stuff, and in lunchtime we would always go out to the football field or to the basketball field and, you know, play and stuff like that. And I don't know what specifically happened that day, but we were on the basketball court, and for some reason, I honestly do not remember, but for some reason she ended up saying the N-word to me. But it was more so like you could realize that she kind of knew that it was wrong, but she didn't like, even though she said it, she tried to play it off as if it was normal. Like, she never ever apologized about it. Yeah, she never ever apologized about it. I think one of my other friends, my best friend at the time, said something to her, and then it was more like she was saying, oh, I didn't know it was, you know, such a bad word, or blah blah blah, this and that. So the thing with that is, her saying the word itself didn't really bother me that much. My main issue was, in that time and at that age, was because I was always the only basically darker skinned person in my class. I've always had the feeling that I was extremely dark compared to everybody else. Like, I thought, if you would look at me, I thought I was like black. Like, I didn't think I was brown. I didn't think I was light skinned. I didn't think any of that. I really believed 100%, based on the feeling that I got from, you know, the people around me, that I was just really dark. And based on what I was seeing around me the whole time anyways, everybody was lighter than me, you know. I had the feeling that I was really dark. And I knew that there were other people that were darker than me, because a few classes down from me there was this African girl, and she was like, you know, she was like a really nice black, like the really pitch dark one. So I knew, it's not like I didn't know, but the feeling that I had at the point, it was like I perceived myself way darker than I actually was. And it isn't necessarily anything that, you know, my friends or the students or the teachers around me did. It wasn't anything specifically like that, but it's just like, you know, you're constantly seeing lighter people around you. You don't have anybody really to talk to that is close to you, or, you know, might experience certain things that is close to you, because the other African girl, me and her are never friends. So she was in a complete different class. I only saw her, but I've never really spoken to her or anything like that. So basically it was just like, okay, I'm here by myself,
it was your self-perception.
With my thoughts going through my head. It's not like I could turn to mommy neither and say, hey, you know, this and that, because she not gonna necessarily I don't think at that age I could explain it anyways.
No,
I don't think I would have been able to explain it to you anyways, what I was feeling.
I mean, it would have been interesting to know for me what was going on, because I was very, very unaware of that situation until not too long ago, when she actually told me for the first time. Because I was always under the impression that her schoolmates always were very nice to her, basically.
They were.
And she was a little exotic girl, and they loved it, you know. But I never realized that for her it was such a different perception of herself than what we would see. So for me it was very surprising when she finally told me, and like I said, that has not been long ago, maybe 3 years ago or something.
Yeah, we had
a discussion and it came out, and I was like, what? Really? I didn't know at all.
Yeah, because we spoke about how, like, even just if you walk somewhere, you can feel different. And then the discussion came up. Remember when we were having dinner at your friend's? And we had the discussion that, you know, that even between the white people, if you're from a different country, or if you have, like, you know, a different look.
No, but take for example Nordic people, like Swedish, Norway, these countries, they are said to be mostly blonde and blue eyes, which mostly, right? It's never all. Or go down, like the discussion she was mentioning was between a couple that are friends of ours, and their husband is African, and the lady is from, you know, originally her family came from Greece. Now within Europe, I can tell you, if that happened to me at the marina. Actually, I could see people walk in, European people walk in, and I could tell you just by the looks where they came from. I would say, oh look, there are some French people coming in, or some Italian, or some, I'm not talking about like really how to say it. Every European country has people have some distinct, not only the features sometimes they kind of mix up anyhow, but the gestures they have, the way they are talking, not the language, because the language I would recognize anyhow, but I don't know, the whole attitude. And I mean, I wasn't always right, of course, but I can say that up to 90% I would guess right. And they would just come in, and I would look at them and say, oh look, some people from Greece. I have a problem with Scandinavian. I mean, I know they are Scandinavian, but I can't tell you if it's Norway or Sweden or Denmark or Finland or whatever. But I know they are Scandinavian, for example. Now, if you go further down in Europe, the more you go down, the more the people have darker hair mostly. Even more like what they call olive skin. And you know that, like, the further you look, then you see, okay, I can recognize British people pretty easy too. Don't you? Can you?
I can't recognize them in the winter because they don't wear jackets in the winter.
True. But apart from that, you can I mean, when I was working outside and stuff, and which come in a later story time, I could recognize them right away. I say, oh, they are from England. Boom. So it's like What was I going to say?
But the main point of that discussion was, even though they're all white, they still basically discriminated between each other.
Oh yeah.
And then I was saying, because mommy didn't really fully understand it at the point, I was saying, just imagine if they do it to
between each other, basically.
Yeah, between each other. Imagine if they would look at me, the drastic difference that is there between me and them, they would immediately know, okay, I do not belong. Because the discussion was as well, because they have mixed children as well, like the two sons and the daughter. So the question was, does she feel like she's fully German, or does she feel more like she's, you know,
from somewhere else, basically
African or whatever, because her father is African and stuff like that.
Nigerian, I think, right? Or Kenya.
I have I don't remember, to be honest.
I think Nigerian.
Somewhere in Africa for sure. So then my thing was as well, like, the question was, do I feel German? And I said no, because nobody would accept me as German. They would look at me and the first thought is not going to be, oh, she's German. Never ever in your life you're going to get somebody who looks at me and say, hey, this girl is German.
Well, that's basically what happened to us white inhabitants from Jamaica. Nobody thinks that we could be Jamaican, which I am not a born Jamaican, but there are quite a few white Jamaicans, and they even have a hard time to be acknowledged as such.
Yeah. So that was, and she, at the point when we were speaking about it, she never really thought of it that way, or knew that that was my feeling towards.
I was really surprised.
Kind of those kind of stuff. I mean, in that time, in general, there weren't that many, say, even other Jamaicans or black people that I personally saw at that young age in our city. Now, every 2 minutes you walk, you see somebody. But back then,
it was them time. It was already too. But you
no,
I know.
I said for me. Yes, I remember I was a child.
I mean, in our town there are quite a few, a lot of students, a lot of immigrants. And
even though back then you had way more Jamaicans, you think me can find one Jamaican at Bielefeld?
True.
I cannot find not one Jamaican.
Like migrate.
all of my black friends that I had in Germany were, every single one of them are African. I do not have one Jamaican friend in Bielefeld.
Yeah. Well, maybe that generation is not present there anymore.
And back then you had way more Jamaicans. You understand?
Yeah.
So to me it was just like, I didn't see the presence of it that much back then. So that kind of, you know, played a role in how I perceived myself at that moment, because there's not that much representation. I mean, even in my family, I'm the darkest out of all of them. Yes, my sister is mixed like me, but she's lighter mixed than me. She has the colored eyes, she has a different hair texture, her skin tone is lighter than mine. So in my family itself, my mom and my two brothers, you know, they're full white. And then my sister is mixed, but way higher mixture than I am. So even in my family, it was like, all right, I'm the darkest one, and then there wasn't that much representation for me, if I put it that way. And what messed me up even more, that was, you know, at that point I didn't perceive it like that strongly, like I couldn't vocalize it, I could have never explained it. But what messed me up even more is whenever I came back to Jamaica, all of a sudden I was white to everyone.
True.
Like, they would see me, they wouldn't call me browning, you know, they'd call me whitey. And I'm like, what? In Germany, I'm
black,
this dark,
blackie.
I'm a blackie basically for everyone over there, but when I come to Jamaica, I'm white. Like, can you imagine how that messes with someone's
identity feeling?
Yeah, it was an identity crisis, honestly. Yeah. And at that young age, to be trying to figure out where you belong and you know what is the true thing, it was so hard, and I went through it. I didn't really speak about it much.
No, definitely not.
Because as mommy mentioned, it was like the other day that we spoke about it, like a couple years ago. But it was just a very weird feeling to be coming from one country and actually feeling darker than your skin tone actually shows, to coming to your homeland where you were born, where you know, think that you belong to the fullest, and people turning around and calling you whitey.
And segregate as well at the same time too.
Like, it's the weirdest feeling ever, and it took me a while to you know, not pay that much attention, and to just be comfortable with who I was, and trying to figure out myself who I was. I wasn't going to let anyone dictate it to me, even though I have people calling me whitey, and I'm like, how? Like, how am I white? But either way, you know, that was just one of the main experiences that I drew from going to school over there, and just experiencing a whole different side to what I was used to. But besides those two occasions, as I mentioned, there weren't really any other situations where I felt like, oh, my skin color is playing a role in this, or it's because I'm this skin color why I can't do this or whatever. That comes later on. Because remember, basically it doesn't really belong to a story time. Remember when I was looking for jobs before I came on vacation here?
That time,
and I was like, I'm applying to all these places, applying. That time I was in my master's and just looking for a side job. And at that point, it was just like, I went to a bunch of interviews and stuff. And at that point, it was really just like, okay, does it have something to do with it or not? Like, that was the first time I actually thought about it. Yeah, if it has something to do with my skin color. But you have to know, this girl is so used to get through with whatever she's trying, you know. I mean, like, even she reached Germany, she would get jobs like this, she would get schooling like that, she applied for this. Oh yeah, sure, you get it, you know. And in this last period when she was in Germany, no, it's the first time in your life, actually, right? Like with your studies, where it didn't go right. Yeah, it was like, for her, it was completely new. It was the first time where I was like getting rejection, basically. Yeah, and that was so new for her. I wasn't used to it at all, because whatever I basically did just set my mind to, I would get it done, you know. School-wise, I got everything done. I made sure I did stuff to get it done. But this time, no matter what I did and how I did everything to get it done, it just wasn't happening. But that was your prelude to come back to Jamaica. I know, that was basically, you know, that was it. I think they had to piss you off. You know, to say, okay, I don't need Germany anymore. Yeah, that was the cause of me basically coming down here, because mommy was like, you need a breather and I need someone here to stay with me. So that's how I ended up coming here and getting stuck. Yep. And now officially moved back to Jamaica. But yeah, there was another situation at high school, you know, clumsy Melody. It's not I wasn't really clumsy, but as I mentioned before, in lunch break we would always go outside, play football, play basketball, run up and down, or there were like these metal railings, and you know, when you jump up on it and spin around it and stuff like that, like, we created a whole crew, you know. We did a routine and all of that. I remember there was like some parents teacher meeting, and we after the parents teacher meeting, we invited our parents down. I said, come look at our routine, and then we performed for our parents and stuff like that. So that was basically how we spent our lunchtime, guys. But there was this one day, yeah, so I had like a friend group of around probably 7 girls, so all of us would always do our thing. And there was this one specific girl, she was actually playing in a girls football team, and she did thick, and you know, she did have good strength. But anyways, I was basically standing with my back up towards one of these railings, and Was it a railing? No, I think it was a fence at the basketball court. There was this fence, and it was like this super, probably like at least 12 feet high, these fences, because they made sure they didn't want the ball flying around the place and stuff. And the girl kicked the ball with all her might up in the ear, right? So she kicked it up in the ear with all of her might, and literally the ball came directly towards me. I was standing up towards the fence like this. I think some other people were beside me. Like, I literally could not move. I just see this big old footballer come towards my face. I said, Jesus Christ, no, I'm not dead. Anyways, my immediate reaction was to, you know, block off my face like this. So I put up my hand like this, and the ball hit my hand. Hit my hand and bounced off. But with that, I felt something in my was it right hand or left hand? I felt something in my left hand. But I thought it was just a sprain. So you know me, I try to play it tough and I play it tough and stuff, and you know, just that I shake off my hand and I go on like nothing happened, because you know in those times if nothing happened to you, you don't really want nobody to know say you hurt yourself or nothing. So I tried playing it off. So eventually, shortly before the lunch break was up, we moved over to those railings again, and I kind of just was leaning on it a little bit, not with a lot of pressure, because my hand was really hurting me. And even with that small movement, I felt my bone shift. But me I say, cha, me alright. Guys, remember say when me remember say the last time me did a swim with broken and everything, you know. So me I say, cha, I know nothing. I went to class with bare pain, like me literally say I'm going to complete the school day before me send nothing to nobody, and I think my hand was even swelling up and stuff. So till, you know, me left school, drive go home with the bus. Went home to mommy and I said, Mommy, look.
Mommy say we are going to the hospital.
Mommy said we're going to the hospital. So we walked to the hospital because the hospital was close by, and they did an x-ray and everything, and you could see the clear split through my bone. And I said, God.
Number 2.
So guys, I broke 2 of my hand them already. I broke this one first. Drop off a hammock or a railing or something.
Rail in the marina.
In the marina, I was climbing or something. Fell on it and broke it. But, you know, swam around with it because we thought it was only sprained. You know, continued with my...
make that mistake a second time though.
Continued with my mermaid activities until we got it like casted like 1 week later or something. But this one was casted immediately. But yeah, your girl has broken both of her arms already. Yay me! At least we never broke no foot or not yet, so I'm proud of myself. When
call it on you.
Man, so yeah, that was like one of the major things that happened in my high school. Besides that, nothing really happened. It was just class activities or whatever happened in lunchtime. Oh, I remember there was also, remember that trip we took to some island. We took a trip to some, I don't remember, some island. The whole class went, and basically somebody, like, we took the train to the island, which was a lot of hours. I think like at least 6 hours or something, and somehow somebody got sick on that train, basically caught a bug, and that bug was given to everybody on that trip. So we had rooms like with, I think in one room there were like 6 or 8 students. So bunk beds, like 3 or 4 bunk beds, and literally one person bring the bug come, and everybody throughout the trip, we stayed there for a week, everybody throughout the trip got sick at some point in time, and you just see everybody a vomit left, right, and center. And me can't see vomit for save my life. Any me see vomit, me start vomit too. And I remember there was like this big hallway beside all the rooms, the doors that led to the room. And this girl just literally projectile vomited on the floor. I mean, then they have ball and I run and I said, no, I can't see it, I can't see it. And I run away and I come and say, any me stand up there so watch me, I go vomit too. And then I think I didn't vomit until sometime later on down on the trip. Everybody, like the teachers, literally put a bucket beside every bedside because they were like, everybody's on this trip just vomiting and vomiting and vomiting. So basically those are just the two epic stories I can remember from my high school days in Germany. But besides that, in summer holidays with one of my friends that apparently I met in primary school. I don't remember at all, but I guess so, because it started pretty. How many summer holidays did I go on vacation with them?
Not that much, two.
Was it
Or maybe three.
So it would have had to been since primary school.
That's what I'm saying.
So
or was it capoeira?
I don't know.
No, she didn't do capoeira.
No, she didn't do it.
It was a primary school.
So basically I had this friend, and you know, we would have sleepovers and stuff like that, and eventually it led to us going on vacation trips. So it was her dad. Every summer her dad, like in Germany they had like 4 weeks summer holiday, so 6 weeks, sorry, 6 weeks summer holidays. So like for half of the holidays her father would have her, and the other half her mom would bring her somewhere. So whenever her father brought her somewhere, they always brought me with them. And we went to the north of Germany, to the North Sea.
Like
we went
camping, right?
Yeah. Well, the father had a cabin, and me and my friend went camping. We decided we sleeping outside. We went to Netherlands. We went to different cities in Germany itself as well. But basically I was always gone like for a couple weeks in the summer holiday. Which, was it nice or no?
Half and half. It was nice to have some time, but then again I always miss my children. Mommy.
Yeah. So I was just there, you know, going different places. But guess what? Your girl had motion sickness. Very, very, very strong at that point. So if me go in a car and drive, me is going to vomit. So the father picked up on this quite early.
Oh, duh.
And eventually for every trip that we took, he made sure that he gave me a travel pill before, which would help me to not get sick. It helped in the way that, yes, I didn't actually vomit, but the feeling, the nausea and stuff was always still there. But we'd drive some long ass distances, and we would always sing some song in the cars. You know, like those movie scenes where people are taking like you know, road trips. Road trips and stuff. That was what we were doing. And we went all over the place, all sorts of different places and stuff. And there was this one time, I think probably it was when I went to the North Sea, where I got a lot of sun. Like a lot of sun. Like me dey out the door from morning till night, because we had a cabin right beside like a little farm. So they had their own chickens. They had a little wild boar in a cage and stuff, and he was so cute. Oh my god, every day we have to go look for him. Like literally every day we had to go look for him. And yeah, we went to the beach. We went when we walked a little down a pathway, there were like horses and stuff. So you know, we enjoyed ourselves.
Perfect children holiday.
Yeah,
animals, we did sun, sea.
Yeah,
what more do you need?
We did a lot of stuff, but that just means that I was in the sun 24/7.
Well, not quite.
Well, yeah, not when
the night was still dark. But in Germany in summer the night only falls like 10:30 in the evening,
Sometime at
and
11
daylight
o'clock.
start by 4 o'clock in the morning. So
See?
basically, it was
So,
almost
okay.
24/7.
Okay.
All right.
So yeah, it doesn't get dark until like 11.
19:07.
It doesn't get dark until like 11 p.m. and it gets bright really early.
4 o'clock. By 4 o'clock, sun is up.
Yeah, so I was there getting the sun of my life. I think I got enough share for everyone that summer. But there was this one situation. So remember I told you about the little wild boar that they have, the baby wild boar that they have. They had this big wooden door leading to it, which they would close.
Like a barn door?
Yeah, like, but it was just like built in a fence.
Oh.
And that was their entryway to get into wherever the cage was for the wild boar. But there was this big apple tree above the wild boar cage and stuff. So I don't know what we were doing, but for some reason we decided, say, that is me and my friend, we decided, so we are gonna climb up on that door there. I think we wanted to pick apples or something. There was some form of fruit on that tree, and we climb up on the door, and it's not a thick door or anything. And we managed to get up there. We sat on the edge of it, but something happened. The door was not shut or anything. It was, you know, slightly open, so you know, so it can move at any time. So something happened, and I think I fell over. So this is the edge of the door. I fell over and hooked myself with my knees like this. So I was like literally laying flat down on the door. And we did that, dead with laugh. So till she couldn't manage no more, end up did this scoot back as well, but she was still holding on top. And we were laughing. So till this girl peed herself. She literally laughed till she pee. And my daddy dead with laugh. So we were so embarrassed. She was like, Melody, I peed myself. And then we just hurried up and jumped, come off of the door and stuff. And like when you looked at the door, you just saw this big this big wet
spot,
watermark, basically, with, you know, it running down and stuff like that. We ran away because remember, it's an affiliate property with the fan, you know, and we don't want to make them know, so we peep on them door. So we ran back to our compound, and we said, "Cho, maybe rain will fall or something, and it will just wash off." And then literally the next morning we went back and said, oh, we're gonna look for the wild boar again, you know, just play like nothing happened.
All is
good. Everything is alright. You know, it was our regular routine by this. When you look on the door, you saw like a light. I don't know if the pee burned out the wood or something, but it became like light color.
Ouch.
Like, you know, like a bleach spot.
Yeah.
You see this big old mark on the door.
You never told me that story.
You saw this big old mark on the door. No, I told you we peed.
Yeah, but you never told me.
I didn't tell you about the light mark, but I can't see it in front of my face. You just saw this big light spot. I don't know how comes, but it just coming like the pee just burn out the wood for some reason, or lighten it, or bleach it, or something. So literally there was nothing that could be done. She was like, oh my god. She was like so embarrassed and worried and say, look, I left a mark. Yeah, we not go back on the door then. We not touch the door again.
Could be caught in action after.
We not touch the door again. I honestly don't remember if we said anything to the owners or anything, but they were a really nice family. They were so friendly, and you know, they invited us into everything. We even had dinner with them sometimes, or breakfast. And because they had their chickens that laid egg and stuff, they say, hey, come and help, you know, retrieve the eggs and stuff like that. So it was a really nice experience.
And when she came home, she come up the steps to the apartment. Me look for a girl coming up the steps and says, who that? Me say that girl was dark. Dark. I never in Jamaica I've seen her that dark. I mean, when we look for her, I say, but weird. So dark you can get. I didn't even know. That was wow. I mean, you could literally see that that girl was in the sun the whole time. Not even in Jamaica where we have so much sun, she was ever dark like that. Yeah. That was amazing.
Like, I got really dark. Her mama was like, you
look so different.
I don't recognize you. You sure you Melody? Are you sure? Yeah, so for some, well, not for some strange reason, but basically I can get really light and then I can get really dark.
Obviously.
If I would choose to. But yeah, that was basically some of my fun memories from that time, and not so fun memories, but you know. But yeah, that was basically the major stories I had of my school days or stuff with friends. Oh, and there's another but me not gonna talk about that now. There's another like ghost story when I saw a man in black and then he disappeared, but that's going to be for another story time.
And see, me not even say a word today.
Yeah,
I was called off.
You weren't called off.
I will tell you now because she mentioned like the identity thing, and I'm going to tell you about my problems for myself between Germany and Jamaica next time. So.
And then maybe we can ask Mayumi again if she felt any specific type of way or if it was just me who perceived it that way. Because remember, she went through the school system a little bit as well. Yeah. And you know, was in that kind of environment.
Little problems with some people.
Yeah. So that's pretty much going to be it for this story time. You know, a lot of small stories, but you know, stories that I will forever remember.
Yeah, and it's like in I think our German life was not that much different from a lot of people living anywhere in Europe or in America or in Canada, because I mean, in the so-called civilized world, the life is pretty similar. And Jamaica is really a complete different story there, and well, a lot more stories will come back then when we are back in Jamaica, but right now we are still in Germany. So yeah, we have to survive that time somewhat.
Yes,
somehow.
Stories about my school life in Jamaica will come as well. So yeah, that's it for this story time. Thank you guys so much for watching. Please remember to like, share,
and please watch the advertisement.
yes, and subscribe if you haven't already, and I will see you in our next video. Bye.
This